Welcome. You have reached review time with Imperial. So we're coming down to the final stretch of Snowfall Season 2. So we're going to review Episode 9. Let's get into it. So it picks right off from Episode 8, where it ended with Franklin shooting his best friend, childhood friend Kev. And the DEA agent ran over to Kev and told him, who shot him. And she wrapped, looks like he got shot in his leg or something, so she wrapped his leg up. Okay, and it picks up right there, so it shows Franklin and Leon dipping off in the car. They hid the car. They stayed low in the house. Leon is frantic. He's looking for, are we going to check on Kev? Are we going to check on Kev? Franklin calls his uncle. So the DA agent told Lucille, like, you're going to tell me who this is. Like, who were they? Who were they that met up at the park? And Lucille's hesitant at first, but then after the DA agent pressures her, she gives up the information and tells who that was doing the shooting. The DA agent goes back to her boss. Her boss is telling her, let all that go. He's packing up and he's ready to route because when Teddy went to the his superiors to get help, to get them to back off, they put that call in to get the DA agency to back off as long as they give them, like, the drug cartel people. So the DA boss told them basically, packing up, we done. But they're gonna give us 2 Mexican head cartel people, so we still gonna win. She's head bent on, nah, I want this situation. So he's telling her, like, you don't have the authority to do that. If you proceed, you pretty much on your own and you can lose your job. She doesn't care. So she's, at this point, still pursuing it. It flashes to Matt, where it left off Matt in episode 8. Matt, which is Teddy's brother, when the drug cartel took him, they have been having pretty much a cocaine party, and they've been making Matt sniff cocaine unlimitedly. And it's amazing that Matt is still alive, because he sniffing too much of that stuff, it's can kill you. So in the process of having Matt snitch a bunch of cocaine, Javi shows up, and he hasn't been paid and he hasn't received any shipment or anything, so he's upset. So he shows up with his goons, and only to find Matt in there. So therefore, Javi's ready to wreck shop, but they get to talking and saying who they were, and then Javi put 2 and 2 together. Well, we both missing the payment right now, so we need to work together. So Javi joins the coke party. So they having coke party and everybody sniffing. The cops show up because they've been hearing alarming music and noise, and so Matt goes outside to keep the cops at bay. However, the cops is not satisfied. They can see that Matt is loaded and zooted. As they're discussing with him, they handcuff him. Teddy pulls up. Just in the nick of time, tells them who he is, and for them to contact a detective at their precinct, and he could resolve whatever matter this is, so they basically don't blow their cover. Meanwhile, on the other side, the cartels and Javi, they all got the guns waiting. If this cop come through, we're gonna let them have it. So the cop diffused and stood down. Everybody ended up getting on board. Everybody got their money. They had to get Matt some medical attention because he started bleeding from his nose. So, that's messy. So, at this point, Teddy is looking to relocate because he feels as though the spot he was at blown. So while he's packing up, the DEA agent, she pulls up and she start questioning him. So he pretty much told her, like, listen, it ain't what you think it is, and if you want to know more information, let's go have a drink. So she really don't trust him still, but she's curious, so she said, I'll follow you. So they're off to get a drink. Meanwhile, because the investigation was pulled, Lucille was let go. And so was Gustavo. So in the process, Lucille's dipping back home. She's packing up, trying to get her money. She ready to make escape for it. However, the guy that seen her in the car that Kev was shooting at, he showed up to her crib and he started pounding on her and basically like, you snitched on me or whatever. So he's beating her up, and then out of nowhere Gustavo shows up to save her. However, this was the same guy that killed Kev's cousin when they was selling in that territory they wasn't supposed to sell to. Supposed to be selling that, and he killed them with a knife, so he always keep a knife on him. So in the process of Gustavo coming to save her, he cuts Gustavo first. So Gustavo is fighting in there, they getting busy going back and forth, and Gustavo's getting him, he's getting him, and going back and forth, tussling. And he did catch Gustavo one good time. And when Gustavo pushed him over the balcony, Gustavo went over with him. And then Lucille, she got her stuff together, so she's coming out with the gun. And when she gets there, the guy is kind of like, he's getting out of Dodge. So I think she shot him in the back or something. And then she's seeing Gustavo on the ground. Gustavo's bleeding. He got stabbed pretty good. So he's dying at this point. So this is messed up. She lost. He gave his life to save hers, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Even though the telefortune person that he's seen a few episodes back told her that she's dark and all it is death around her, and he need to be careful. So he should have left her alone a long time ago. But you're in love. You're staying around. So that ended her situation. Meanwhile, when Franklin reached out to his uncle to come in, first the detective showed up to Franklin's mom's house. They have a long conversation with him. And then in the process of them leaving, the neighbor that's a cop speaks to them and asking them what happened. They tell him. So he like, I got some information for y'all. So from there, the mom goes over to the uncle's house where Franklin normally hangs, and she's looking for Franklin. And then the uncle like, yo, chill, what's up? And they have their little argument, but in a nutshell, she said the detectives just came to her house saying that Kev's dead and Franklin's responsible or whatever. So they got all the information at this point. So it's like, so he's looking like, wow. So, him and his sister have a back and forth, and she like, tell my son I came here. So he goes and links back up with Franklin, and he tells Franklin pretty much, yo, Kev is dead. And Aunt Louie, she went on the streets to get some information, and she pretty much found out the same information, and that the word is Kev is dead. However, if your guy is in protective custody, they could be just putting that out there just so that, it stir some things up. Because if in most movies, movie 101, if you didn't see them die on camera, then 2 to 1, they might didn't die at all. So that's gonna be a mystery here. They just blowing smoke, to stir things up, or is he Kid really dead? Because he got shot in the leg. He could have, they said he bled out, but he could have got shot in the artery or something. So it's possible, but we didn't see it, so we don't know. And so from there, Franklin is hysterical. Leon is upset that pretty much this happened. And so Franklin like, yo, I gotta get out of Dodge, yo. You know what I'm saying? Leon, he was like, I need a favor, give me a car. So they pretty much, the plan is let Franklin dip off. But because of his love for his mom, he wanted to see his mom one last time before he, so he shows up and dips in the backyard, sees his mom, gets to talking to her or whatever, pretty much tell her like, I love you, and I'm gonna leave this life alone, and I'm gonna get going. And so they come, and this is pretty much a setup because the cop, the neighbor, he knew before he do anything, he gonna come see his mom because he love his mom. So they already been sitting on the house, front and back door. So they let him go in there. Then they banged on the door, saying they looking for Franklin. So Franklin, he pretty much, I love you, mom. He trying to run out. He great dip out the back door, and boom, they already sitting there waiting. So it's a dramatic moment. Him getting locked up, his mom seeing him getting locked up. So that was dramatic right there. So it's gonna be interesting. So to see how this play out. But in my mind, after viewing it, I'm thinking this would kill the whole show if he go down like that. And this is a twist from the original Freeway Ricky Ross story. So I'm thinking in my mind, because after Teddy sits with the DA agent, tell her what's what, and get her on his side. She was the main witness, the witness that was Franklin who shot whoever. They're not going to get Lucille to cooperate. They're not going to, Teddy going to get the DA agent not to cooperate. So I don't see how they're going to have a witness for Franklin to say that he did what. So the trailer for next episode looks kind of good. Look like Franklin and Gary go through some tribulations while he's in jail. So that'll be interesting. And that, of course, next week's episode is the season finale. So overall, the season's been okay. It's been cool. I've been pushing through, following it. Can't be too disappointed. So till next week, subscribe and like. Share the video, comment. Till next time.